Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So first we will remind ourselves a little bit what was the topic previous time. We went through the first shower of the book Madhurya Kadambini and we spoke about few things. The first one was that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is higher than Brahman, the Brahman realization of the Absolute Truth. And then we spoke how Krishna and Bhakti Devi, the spiritual energy of Krishna, both of them are independent and they can be achieved only through some spiritual via media. There is no any material situation or condition that can become the cause for bhakti, for devotional service to appear in one's life. In other words, we are using the definition, bhakti can come only from bhakti. And on the basis of this, we showed how bhakti is completely independent on any material situation and from any other process for spiritual realization. For example, yoga or karma or jnana. Bhakti is completely independent from them. That means only through bhakti we can achieve complete perfection, even without practicing any yoga or any karma, kanda process, any ritualistic ceremonies, activities, and any jnana, impersonal studying of Shastra, what is spirit and what is matter. From the other side, all these processes, they are dependent on bhakti. Without having at least little bit bhakti while the practitioner is practicing, no matter karma, yoga or jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga, he will not achieve his ultimate success or ultimate destination. Also, we were speaking that these processes, namely karma, jnana and yoga, if one tries to practice them but does not complete them, he doesn't have any profit. Whereas the process of bhakti is so powerful that even if one starts the process and does not complete it now, later he can continue his practice and complete it. In other words, there is no loss, there is no diminution, there is no any problem with this, that for certain amount of time you are not completely successful on your bhakti path. So this is some very important points that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining in the beginning of his book. And now, today we are going to continue with the second shower of nectar. So the first thing that he's describing in the second chapter or second shower of nectar is that mainly we have two kinds of bhakti. So one is pure bhakti, which is also known as Shraddha bhakti, and the other one is mishra, or the first one is, as we said, pure devotional service. Second one is mixed devotional service. Mixed with what? With desire for fruitive results, karma, and with mental speculation or desire for liberation, impersonal liberation, jnana. So we, the devotees, our goal is to practice pure devotional service, or Shraddha Bhakti. Why the first kind is called Shraddha and the second mixed? Well, because if we have mixed motivations, that means we don't have complete Shraddha in the process of Bhakti. We don't have the complete Shraddha or faith that just by serving Krishna, we will achieve the highest perfection of life. Rather, our motivation is mixed. We have some faith in Krishna, but we also have some faith in material sense gratification, or we have some faith in impersonal liberation. So all these motivations are mixed. So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, from now on, he's going to speak about the process of Shraddha Bhakti, or pure devotional service. Now we'll go for a reference little bit to another famous book that generally devotees study, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada translated this book as Nectar of Devotion. So in this book, it is described that Bhakti, the process of devotional service, has three main stages. First one is called Sadhana Bhakti. The second one is called Bhava Bhakti, or devotional service in ecstasy. And the third one is called Prema Bhakti, or devotional service in love of God. So now, in regards to Sadhana Bhakti, what we are going to speak in the next few days on the basis of this book, Madhurya Kadambini, is mainly happening on the process of Sadhana Bhakti, or the time when the devotee is seriously following the process of devotional service, mainly by following strictly the rules and regulations, by adhering to the rules of Shastra, under the guidance of the spiritual master. So, Bhakti Devi is compared to a creeper. And we know that the creepers, they have leaves. And it is said that on the level of Sadhana Bhakti, the creeper of Bhakti Devi produces two leaves. In the same way, later, when we go to the discussion of Bhava Bhakti, devotional service in ecstasy, there will be another two leaves. And in Prema Bhakti, another two leaves. These are the different qualities that appear on these different stages of the process of devotional service. So now, dealing mainly with Sadhana Bhakti, the first two leaves that appear, they are known as Kleshagni and Subhada. Kleshagni means that all distress in the life of devotee is destroyed, including the reason, the causes for this distress. And Subhada means that everything good, everything nice, everything beneficial, auspicious, all the good qualities are appearing in the life of the devotee. So now these two leaves, they appear at the same time practically. The moment when the bad things in our life, bad habits, different anarthas are getting destroyed, at the same time all the good qualities appear. However, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that just for the pleasure of studying this process, how we are advancing through the process of sadhana bhakti, the learned personalities, the sages, they are describing different stages in between these two. The moment where everything bad is destroyed in our life, and the moment where everything auspicious, all the good qualities are appearing in the character of the devotee. Why do we need this information? Someone may ask. Well, one reason may be that we have the tendency, when we start to do something, if we don't see very fast result coming, we become discouraged. So acharyas, they are describing these different levels of advancement on our spiritual path so that we can stay enthusiastic, happy, and determined to continue on our spiritual path.
So these two levels, something similar, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that something similar happens with all levels of bhakti, starting from Shraddha up to Prema. He explains that, not in this book, not in Madhurya Kadambini, he explains that they are supposed to be just very smoothly transmitting from one to another without these sharp differences that we make when we study them. And only when there are offenses, only then the practitioners, they are stuck for some time on one of these levels. So if there are no offenses committed, then the progress should be very quick. Just like Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita explains that there is this yoga ladder, and the ultimate yoga is bhakti yoga. This is the highest level of yoga. And all these other yogas are just steps. They are stages that they are supposed to lead us to bhakti. And Srila Prabhupada says, if somebody gets stuck on one of those stages, then he becomes known as a karma yogi or ashtanga yogi or jnana yogi or whatever yoga he is attracted to, because these are just different aspects of the original process, bhakti yoga. And if somebody is too attached to certain aspect, certain feature of the process of bhakti, overemphasizing it, taking it out of the context of pure devotional service, then he's become known as jnana yogi or karma yogi or something else. So in the same way, these processes that we are going to, these stages that we are going to study now, they are actually we're supposed to go through them very quickly, actually. And if we're not going very quickly, that means we are committing some offenses or we're not doing something right.
So now we can say something about what is Kleshagni and what is Subhada, and what is actually the reason so that we are going through different sufferings or we are getting certain auspicious qualities in our life.
Maybe before that, maybe just shortly we should say what is the difference between what are the two kinds of sadhana bhakti. Do you know about this, dear devotees? Have you heard? There are two types of sadhana, Vaidhi and Raganuga. Have you heard of this?
We can leave it this for
Yes.
when we're done with the main process.
Yeah. Just shortly, Vaidhi means practicing bhakti because we are supposed to follow the orders of Shastra and Guru. And Raganuga means, the meaning is, we can speak more about this, but shortly the meaning is that we follow the rules because we are attracted to. There is spontaneous attraction. Both of them are still part of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti has two types, Vaidya and Raganuga. Okay, we'll speak about this later.
So yeah, basically sadhana means that there is a certain schedule that one follows during his day. So both this sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti will mean that we are following a certain regime, certain schedule in our day. Anyway, just we'll leave this for later because already we are going through few topics, so it may become a little bit confusing. So let's just come back to the main point. Sadhana bhakti has two main qualities: everything bad is destroyed and everything good appears. And in order this to happen, we should understand what are the causes for suffering. Maybe Pandava can explain which are the main causes.
Okay, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that there are 5 main clashes or sufferings, or in this case, causes for reasons for suffering. They are actually just different aspects of the false ego, different aspects of avidya. So there are avidya, which means ignorance. That means that we are taking something that is unreal, that is asat, we are taking this to be sat, real. We're taking this material world as our real home. We're thinking that this body, material body, is ourself. So then, if we want to, if we have to live, stay, try to enjoy the material world, we need an identity, and this identity should be false, of course. This is asmita, false ego. It's the bodily identification of I and mine. I am this body, and everything connected to this body is mine. That means control and enjoy. I is control, and mine is to enjoy. Or in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is called Aham Mameti. Okay, Aham Mameti. I am mine. So this is the second cause. Then the third one, the natural logical consequence of this is raga, which means attachment. When we come in contact with sense objects and we meditate on them, just like Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, then we develop attachment, material attachment, raga. It's not a spiritual raga, material raga. This is the desire for material happiness and all these plans that we are making in our mind through the intelligence to attain material happiness. And then once these desires are very strong, then we are frustrated because nobody can be happy in the material world. This is the nature of this place. So then there is dvesha. Dvesha means hatred. The repulsion to and hatred towards everything that is obstructing our sense gratification. And there are plenty of these obstacles because there are 7 billion billions gods in this material world, and they all want to enjoy, and naturally there is a competition, and then there is dvesha, hatred. And abhinivesha is the absorption in the body as the basis for sense gratification. This is and fear of death especially. This is these are the different clashes, 5 different types of sufferings. And on the basis of this, there are different levels of sinful reactions. When we commit sin, there is sinful reaction, and there are different levels, different types of sinful reactions. First is what is called prarabdha karma. That means the sufferings that we are experiencing right now. We have this material body, it's a cause of suffering. Sharira avidya jal. We are very happy when we sing this prayer before Prasharam, but the meaning of this prayer is this body, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are networks that are leading to that. How is the meaning of this? Sharira vidya jadendriya taika. Everybody is very excited, but actually, what we are saying is very sobering. So, prarabdha karma. We are suffering from some disease, or we have problems with something, some problems. There are always some problems in the material world. From the threefold miseries, and this is called prarabdha karma. And there are different types of aprarabdha karma. That means suffering reactions that are stored and they're waiting for us in the future. And according to the level of fructification of these reactions, there are different levels. One is called bija, that means the seed of suffering, the seed of sin. And then kuta, that means, or ruda, here is another term. Ruda means it's even before the stage of a seed. It is completely unmanifest, but it's there. We cannot perceive it, but it is there. And aprarabdha means just before becoming, just before we experience it, just the stage just before we start to suffer from this reaction. So, anyway, we can also speak about this, more about this later. But one thing, maybe one thing, just one thing we can say: when we commit sinful activity, then there is immediate reaction, which means we have to suffer the immediate reaction of this. Let's say we are engaged in illicit sex. That means there is a good chance we will get some disease, and then we have to suffer. And this will be
this is the prarabdha.
This is the prarabdha karma. We'll get this reaction relatively soon. But this is not the whole picture. It's not the only problem with this. The other problem is that by performing sinful activities, then we are inclined to perform more sinful activities in future. That's what it is. By performing devotional service, we develop taste for bhakti, and by performing sinful activities, we develop taste for sin. And this is what is called kuta. Kuta means the unmanifest sinful reaction. It is in due course of time, this proclivity, sinful inclination. Yeah. In due course of time, this sinful inclination will take a perceivable shape. We'll become aware of it. We'll start thinking, oh, let's say I want to steal something. So this is already the next level.
Sinful desire.
And then it will be first in general. And then we will develop desire to steal particular object. And this is called aprarabdha. This is just before it becomes manifest. So all these 5 clashes, which are different forms of ignorance, lead to sinful activity, and they lead to sinful reaction. Okay.
So basically, this discussion, we are going a little bit into this just to understand why there is problems in our life, why we are suffering. And when we are discussing that devotional service, even on the level of sadhana, we are not speaking here about bhava, we are not speaking about prema, we are speaking just the level of sadhana. Basically, this is the level on which we are. Devotional service on this level has the power to destroy not only the reactions from all the bad activities, sinful activities that we performed before, but also has the power to destroy the cause for all these activities that we perform, namely what we spoke, these five: the ignorance, avidya, the false ego, attachment, aversion, all these things that they were pushing us again and again and again to engage ourselves in improper activities which were leading to bad results, which were leading to suffering in our life. So klesha, agni, all this will be destroyed by the power of devotional service, already on the level of sadhana bhakti. This is the conclusion from this discussion. And what is subhada? Appearance of everything good. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that all the good qualities gradually appear in the character of devotee. He becomes titikshava, karunika, very tolerant, very compassionate. Suhridam Sarvadehina becomes friend to all living entities. Ajata Shatrava, he doesn't have enemies. Shanta, he is very peaceful. All these good, great qualities becomes ornaments of a devotee. Gradually, devotee gets all these qualities. He acts on the basis of these qualities. So just by practicing sadhana bhakti, what we are trying to do as bhaktas, these two qualities gradually will appear. Everything bad in our life will be destroyed. Everything good in our life will appear. So how much time it will take this? Well, in this book now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he will explain this. How much time? How it goes? What are the different levels through which we have to go? And I think you have heard already these levels before. We can repeat them, the Sanskrit words, and shortly explain what's the meaning. And basically now...
Have you heard them? The levels of bhakti? Who has heard them? Who knows about them?
You can give us some sign.
No, you can say. Speak up.
They're afraid.
You mean like...
We are vegetarians. We are not eating people.
Okay.
You can...
Do you mean like prema bhakti?
Anyway, Shraddha means... Shraddha means you develop faith. This is the beginning of the process of bhakti. Then sadhu sangha means you associate with saintly personalities. Bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya means Bhajana kriya basically means that we start seriously performing devotional service, and we do this under the guidance of the spiritual master. We are going to speak about this little later. Then during this bhajana kriya, gradually our heart starts getting purified from all the contaminations. This is known as anartha nivriti. All the anarthas, all the bad things in our life becomes purified. Then we continue performing bhajana kriya, but already very steady. This is called nishta, or another term that we will see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will use is nishtita bhajana kriya. So the same thing we are doing like before anartha nivriti, but already it will be very firm, very fixed, very steady. Once we are steady in our bhajana kriya, in our devotional activities, gradually the taste will appear in spiritual life, ruchi, and then this taste will become extremely strong, asakti, attraction to Krishna will appear, and then are coming the higher levels of bhakti, about which we said that we will speak separately. Bhava, devotional service with ecstatic feelings, and prema, devotional service in love of God. So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will explain these different levels, how it works, the process of bhakti. And he's giving some very interesting examples, I believe, we can get a lot out of it. So let's start with first two processes, Shraddha and Sadhusanga. Now, generally, we say that Shraddha is the beginning of our spiritual life. And this is true, because without Shraddha, we cannot do anything. But then someone may ask, well, but how does the Shraddha appears? Because we said that Bhakti cannot appear from anything material. Bhakti can appear only from Bhakti. So how will Shraddha appear? Well, Shraddha appears from association with Bhaktas. So sometimes we say Shraddha is first, and once we have Shraddha or faith, we will start, because of this faith, associating with devotees. Or sometimes we may say, because we are associating with devotees, our Shraddha matured, and that's why we will continue associating with devotees. So what means Shraddha? Shraddha means the firm conviction to act on the words and the instructions of devotional scriptures. This is Shraddha. If we really have faith in Bhakti, if we really have faith in Krishna, then we will follow strictly the rules and regulations of Shastra. We will try to imbibe all this in our life. In other words, we will be ready to make some changes in our lifestyle, in our culture. This is Shraddha. Then, once we have a strong faith, this faith will give birth to a desire to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. If we are really matured in our faith, this will inevitably lead to the point that, okay, I have to take formal shelter in a devotee of the Lord. Because Krishna is saying that it is not my devotee, the person who is saying that it's my devotee. It's my devotee, the person who is saying that is devotee of my devotee. So if we are really serious in spiritual life, this will lead to the point that we will want to accept the spiritual master. This is like a proof, like a test that our faith is maturing, is becoming more and more and more serious. At this point, if we have strong faith and if we have proper association with the devotees, if we accept spiritual master, we will go to the next level, which is Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya means that we are ready to seriously serve Krishna in our day-to-day life. Big part of our life will be dedicated to direct activities connected with Krishna consciousness. That means Bhajana Kriya. Bhajan means worship and Kriya means doing. So every day we will do our worship. We will chant, we will read the books of Srila Prabhupada, we will do practical things like worshipping our deities or cooking for Krishna, offering our food, and so on and so on. So this is all part of Bhajana Kriya. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that this level of Bhajana Kriya, serving with faith under the guidance of the spiritual master, has two levels. Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, unsteady, and Nishtita Bhajana Kriya, steady. Nishtita Bhajana Kriya, this is what generally in ISKCON we know as the term Nishta. So basically, here the concept is presented that once devotee start doing devotional service, in the beginning he won't be very steady. But gradually, with the performance of this devotional service, all anarthas, all unwanted things in his heart will become purified, and at the same time he will start getting more and more and more steady in his devotional service. So the process of Bhajana Kriya will continue, but from unsteady with the purification of the anarthas and unwanted things in heart, it will become very steady, very firm. So now we are going to discuss different levels, how the devotee is advancing through the part of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining 6 different levels through which a devotee is going in his advancement in devotional life. I find this very, very interesting, very practical for me. So I hope that you also like it. Let's see first which are these 6 categories. I'll just read them and then we'll go through them one after the other. First one is called Utsahamai, sudden enthusiasm. Second one is called Ganatarala, sometimes enthusiastic, sometimes lethargic.
Utsahama is also called false confidence.
Yes. Then the third one is Vyuda Vikalpa, a stage when doubts disturb our resolution to serve Krishna.
Indecision.
Yes.
Extensive speculation.
Yes. Then fourth is called Vishaya Sangara, a stage of internal war with the material sense gratification, sense enjoyment.
Declaring war.
We are devotees declaring war to Maya. Then fifth stage is called Nyamakshama. Although devotee is practicing regularly devotional service, he cannot completely dedicate himself to the process, to the practice.
Or inability to uphold vows.
Yes. And the sixth one is called Taranga Rangini, attachment to wealth, adoration, distinction, and so on. So these are the 6 levels that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining, how devotee in the unsteady practice of bhajana kriya, devotional service, he goes through. So let's just look at them one by one and see what practical use we can get for us. First one is called Utsahamai. So generally, when we start our devotional service, in the beginning, when the devotee comes, he takes the spiritual life extremely enthusiastically for different reasons. First, because he was suffering a lot in the material world. Second, because he feels lots of nectar from the process of devotional service. He starts feeling very light. His life becomes very easy. So he's very enthusiastic. But now this enthusiasm, the beginning enthusiasm, initial enthusiasm, very often is also supported by lots of pride. Why pride? Well, because devotee, he thinks that he is very special. He is better than others. Like, for example, someone is coming in the beginning and he's chanting very enthusiastically and very apparently attentively, and he sees some other devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness from 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and see that they may externally apparently not chant as enthusiastically as him. And he starts thinking, oh, just see, I came just 3 weeks ago and now I'm already so advanced. And these people, they are practicing so long and they don't get any taste from the holy name. I don't know, they're doing something wrong. And everything is perfect with me because
for 3 weeks I have surpassed them.
Yes, I'm getting so much taste. I'm so concentrated in my chanting. So basically enthusiastic, but still not real enthusiasm, false enthusiasm. Utsaha, mai.
The example is a Brahmana child having just begun study of the scriptures, thinks that he has immediately become a learned scholar, worthy of everyone's praise. Similarly, a person just beginning devotional service may develop the audacity to think that he has mastered everything. So he's called Utsahamai, or puffed up. He's proud with enthusiasm,
Yes.
false enthusiasm.
So more or less, like we know that all of us, to some extent or other, we went through this in our devotional service. We hope that we will pass this stage and we will come to the next one by the mercy of the devotees. Like I remember many times devotees, by their mercy, had to catch me in the beginning of my spiritual life and just tell me, hey, why you think you are something very, very special? Why you think you are different than the other devotees? You're something higher, something more than them. And basically in this way, they help me to get rid of my pride, thinking that I'm very, very special. So the second level, Ganatarala. Sometimes devotee is enthusiastic and sometimes is lethargic. Well, basically, that means that we are performing our devotional duties and sometimes the mode of goodness is influencing us a little bit more and we feel that everything is getting very easy and chanting is going nice and reading is going nice and whatever we start doing as a practice is getting very easy. But sometimes we are influenced a little bit more by the modes of ignorance and passion, and the things are not working exactly the way how we wanted, and we become lethargic. We become disappointed. We are losing our enthusiasm. So this is also a level part of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya. Sometimes we are very enthusiastic to do our devotional service, to get up early in the morning, to chant our rounds in a concentrated manner, to serve the devotees or the spiritual master. And sometimes our enthusiasm is going down, very much down. So this is the second level.
Yeah, therefore, one should act as a matter of duty. Srila Prabhupada says that the austerity for the devotee is to perform his or her duty. Doesn't matter how we feel, we have to perform our duty. If we take shelter in our duty, then we will be able to pass through this stage. Just like Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Mam chayo vyabhicharana bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatityatam brahma bhuya kalpate. If we perform bhakti, no matter what, without falling down, then we'll be on a transcendental level, above the three modes. Because bhakti is above the modes. And if we catch the lotus feet of the devotees of the Guru, then we'll be elevated. Okay.
Yes, basically what is helping us to go beyond the dualities, beyond this thing that sometimes we are enthusiastic, sometimes lethargic. Well, it is said that motivation of a devotee in the process of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti should be the desire of his guru. Like sometimes we may be enthusiastic, sometimes we may not be enthusiastic, but then this should be overcome just because we should think, well, my Guru Maharaj wants me to do this, my Guru Maharaj wants me to live in this way, my Guru Maharaj wants me to achieve this, and this should become our enthusiasm to go above the dualities of the modes, above the dualities of good and bad, enthusiasm and lethargy, and so on and so on. So this is the second level that we have to overcome in our Anishtita Bhajana Kriya. Then we come to another obstacle. This is the third level, which is known as Vyuda Vikalpa, or Pandava Prabhu said, indecision. Indecision means devotee is getting too much absorbed in the different material dualities, and because of that, he is losing the opportunity to concentrate on Krishna and devotional service of Krishna. Like, for example, he's example that Shiva Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving mainly is the indecision of the devotee in which ashram he will position himself. Either he's going to be grihasta or brahmachari or vanaprastha, he's not sure. And all the time his mind is giving him different quotations from Shastra. Well, in this and this place it is said that if you better don't pretend, be real, just go get a good devotional wife, have a Krishna conscious children, and be real and advance spiritually. Next moment his mind is telling him, no, actually this is not at all auspicious for my spiritual advancement. I have to definitely renounce all material sense gratification and family life and become sannyasi or vanaprastha. And next moment again his mind is giving him different arguments why he should do one or the other. So in this way, instead of concentrating on the devotional service so that devotional service becomes more intensive and more purificatory for us, rather our mind is constantly meditating on different material dualities. Like sometimes devotee is thinking, oh, shall I be austere? Or no problem, I can overeat with prasadam because this is prasadam. So in this way, we are constantly going in the different dualities and we are missing the point of thinking about Krishna.
Yeah, because if we don't have identity, then you cannot focus on anything seriously. The people who are successful, they have strong sense of identity. They know who they are, and therefore they engage accordingly. And in this level, in this stage of Vila Vikalpa, the devotee doesn't know what's his identity, and his energy is spent in speculation without much devotional service. Okay.
So when devotee goes beyond this level, the fourth level is known as Vishaya Sangara. He becomes very determined to go on a war against Maya, against the material sense gratification. He is saying, now I will not anymore engage in any kinds of sense gratification. Everything that I do will be only devotional service. I'll chant the holy name. I'll read Bhagavatam whole day. This is his determination. And then, although he's extremely determined and he's extremely sincere, again and again he's trying to do it. Again and again he's trying to go above material sense gratification, and again he is failing to do it. But he is extremely sincere, and every time when this happens, he is thinking, oh, just see how fallen I am. Although he may fall prey to sense enjoyment, he rebukes himself and feels remorseful, always continuing his devotional service. So he is thinking, I cannot overcome material sense gratification because I am so fallen. And although he has this problem, he cannot overcome Maya, he is extremely determined in his devotional service. He's not giving up devotional service. Like sometimes we see on our level of devotional service, sometimes we are overcome by Maya and immediately we are losing any kind of enthusiasm and we just leave everything. We leave chanting, we leave reading, we escape the association of devotees. On this level, devotee will not do that. On this level, sometimes, occasionally, incidentally, devotee may have some difficulty, but he's totally convinced that devotional service is the only and most important thing in life and he will never give it up. This is how devotee is thinking. Even I am the most fallen and wretched from all the devotees, and I am the shame in the society of devotees. Still, I will not give up my devotional service. This is the resolution. This is the way of thinking of the devotee on this level. So he's trying, but sometimes he is not successful. And then fifth level is, yes.
Well, I think it's 5 minutes. Maybe somebody wants to ask a question.
Then we have two more levels. The fifth one is Vishaya Sagara. Excuse me, this is the fourth one. The fifth one is Niyamak Shama. So on this level, devotee doesn't have problem with Maya. He already controls his senses to such an extent that he is not falling down. But he wants completely to dedicate himself in the practice of devotional service. And that's why again and again he's taking vows. But again and again, at the end, he cannot fulfill his vow. So he's, for example, he's saying, today I want to chant 64 rounds. And he's almost there, but at the end of the day, he cannot complete his vow. Or he's saying, today I will fast, I will not eat, I will not drink, I will not sleep for the pleasure of Krishna on this Ekadashi.
From tomorrow, from Monday, every day I will eat 2 hours.
Yes. And he's just about to finish his vow and he is not managing to do it. So Pandava will say, what's the difference between the previous level and this one?
Yeah, the previous level, the devotee is unable to avoid sense gratification. And on this level, Niyamak Shama, the devotee is unable to improve his service. There is difference. And the previous level, I just want to say that here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting the verse. Previous level means
Vishaya Sangara.
Vishaya Sangara.
War with Maya.
How the devotee resolves that I'm not going to be in Maya anymore. There is a verse here. One whose heart is absorbed in materialism is far from obtaining devotion to Vishnu. Can a man, by going east, obtain something which is in the west? So this is, finally he gets this realization. I want to thank Krishna, and at the same time, I'm engaged in sense gratification. But this is not going to work like this. I have to make my mind. I have to choose Krishna over Maya. And therefore, he's so determined. This is his realization. And there's another verse I remember, it reminded me about another verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jihvara lalaseye iti uti daya shishnudara parayana Krishna mahipaya. If somebody is running here and there to satisfy his genitals in his tongue, Krishna Nahipaya, he cannot attain Krishna. So this devotee understands and realizes this. And then next level, he's trying to improve his devotional service, but he's unable to.
And then we come to the last level, the sixth level, Taranga Rangini. Attachment to wealth, adoration, distinction, and so on. So because the devotee is practicing seriously, he is completely dedicated to his spiritual practice, and he is able to follow his vows with the time, he becomes like a storehouse of all good qualities and mercy. And these good qualities, because of them, he becomes very attractive for the people. And because he becomes very attractive, people, in their turn, they are ready to give this devotee wealth, adoration, distinction, position. And now, devotee has to make up his mind. If he wants to enjoy these byproducts that are coming on the base of his practice of bhakti, or he'll stay very firm in his resolution that no, all this is meant for Krishna, and I just have to serve Krishna. This is the only solace, the only happiness in my life. So basically, Taranga Rangini means small waves. The small waves which are coming on the ocean of bhakti as adoration from others. Of course, that means that devotee on this level is already very, very, very advanced. Why? Because otherwise, how he's going to be so attractive for others? He's already very advanced. Now the question is if he's going to be uh, yes, the question is if the devotee will be how to say, illusioned a little bit by this, and some part of his attention will be diverted to this, enjoying the separate products by bhakti. If a devotee goes over this, now we are speaking that he is becoming nishta devotee, or his bhajana kriya, his devotional activities are becoming very substantial, very firm, very steady. Okay, so more or less this is the second chapter of Madhurya Kadambini. Would you like to ask something? Do you have some questions, dear devotees?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We cannot hear you for some reason.
Huh.
Can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So in the beginning, you said how, that actually we should be going through these stages very quickly. But so if we're not, then there are probably offenses slowing us down. And at the same time, we hear that that one has to be patient, and that it's a gradual process. So then, is there a way to kind of pinpoint if there are specific offenses that I'm committing, or do I just keep going? Like, is there something to do about a specific offense, or do you just keep going until the process, and the process just kind of works itself gradually?
Yeah, both. We should definitely continue with our devotional service, and at the same time, we need some guidance from expert devotees, from our group, from senior devotees, and they can point out what is lacking in our practice. And also by introspection, we can also notice many things if we're sincere. And the offenses are, we recite them every morning, the 10 offenses against the holy name. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that all of them, they stem from inattentive chanting. That's the root cause. So we basically know what we should be doing. Our problem is, when are we on earth starting to actually to do what we know we have to be doing? When Bhaktivinoda Thakur has this song, when this day will be mine, when I'll be free of apparatus and I'll chant the holy name. So that's the question of the questions. That's the main question. When we will start doing what we know we should be doing. Because we know what we're supposed to be doing. We know what Prabhupada gave us, what sadhana he gave us. We know that we have to chant properly with attention. We know that we have to follow the four regulative principles. So the question is when we will start seriously applying ourselves. And then when we are studying this, then we will acquire taste. We'll hear about ruchi little later. If we're not steadily engaged in sadhana, we will not acquire taste. And without ruchi, our progress will be very slow.
It's like, it's like, for example, kids, because they have so much taste to play, and they completely forget about timing, if it's time for lunch or whatever. So in the same way, when we have so much taste for bhakti, we'll completely forget about material situation, about our material problems, material suffering. Everything will disappear once we have a strong taste in bhakti. Next time we will speak exactly about the different kinds of anarthas that are making our progress in bhakti slow down. This will be the main topic next time. Something else? Someone else wants to add something or ask something? You want? Yeah.
When you describe there's this level when the devotee he controls the senses and that he's not falling down. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what does that mean? He's not falling down. So, what, like, you just elaborate on that level? Like, what is the characteristic of the devotee on that level?
We have a good friend of ours here with us in the room. So he is asking, can you elaborate more on the fifth level, which is the level when the devotee is not falling anymore down, but rather he's not able to fulfill his vows. Yeah, that's your question.
He's not falling down.
Fourth one is he's falling down. And fifth one is he's not falling down anymore. Yeah, you're asking about when he's not. So basically, we have a verse from Bhagavad Gita. Apichet sudaracharo bhajante mamanani bhak sadureva samantarya samyak vyavahito hi saha. That sometimes a devotee, he may perform very bad activity. The Sanskrit word is durachar. That means very, very bad activity. But he is not doing it, how to say, in a planned way. Rather, because of weakness of the heart, he cannot control his senses and he's doing something bad. Something bad means against the principles of bhakti. It can be a sinful activity, or it can be something opposite to the social norms of behavior as well. Yes. But because he is completely dedicated to the process of devotional service, we are speaking about this, that he is saying, oh, maybe I'm the worst of all the devotees in the devotee society. But although I am such a fallen, I will never give up the service of Krishna. This strong determination or keeping him on the path is his qualification to continue on the process. And Krishna is saying for such a person, one should accept him as a sadhu, as a saintly person. So basically, devotee on the fifth level, he doesn't have problem with this. He is not falling. All of us, which are not steady in devotional service, we are falling. Some may be falling on a gross level, some may be falling on a subtle level from the standards of devotional service. Somewhere we are short. But the devotee on the fifth level, he doesn't have problem with this. He doesn't have problem with following regulative principles. He doesn't have problem to be a moral person. He doesn't have a problem to be good with others, not to be angry, not to quarrel with others, and so on and so on. He doesn't have problems with these things. So that's why we could say his war with Maya is over. But still, he doesn't have the strong enough taste and determination to very rapidly increase his devotional service. He wants to do it, but he is unable. He wants to chant many more rounds than what he is doing, but not always he's able to do it. One time he's able, one time he's not able. He wants to be very austere, but he's not always very austere. So this is this level, Niyama Kshama. You want to add something or to? Okay. Okay, dear devotees, thank you very much for your participation. So hope to see you next Wednesday, same time. Stay tuned.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.